everybody for years. I had a whole series on my Instagram page of people doing the OK sign.
Of course.
Including me back when I had earrings. In the news radio days.
And the other thing is, we're at a point now where it's more easy to give the finger to someone than to say okay.
Yeah, because you blur the finger out and nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if you do that, like, oh, what is he doing?
What does it mean?
He's touching his fingers. You can't even do like you're holding a joint because that's like a white power joint. Like, if you're like doing that, like a roach, that's bad. That's bad. How do you have to use a roach clip? No, it's a ploy by the roach clip industry. She was drunk, and I was just trying to avoid her. I was just trying to avoid her. And she goes to me, "You think you're all Fear Factor?" She got in my face with this fucking thing and the fingers moving. "You think you're all Fear Factor?" Listen, bro, I feel what you're saying. And I was only fucking around. I was filling some dead space where we're trying to recalibrate our reality due to your circumstances and your story being paradigm shifting. Joe, you're so fucked up. I'm not that fucked up. Listen, I want to tell you, Matt.
Man, I'm giving you a shout out. I love you.
Pressure
we love
your
each
own
other.
person.
We love each other.
Oh, no gay stuff. This is a late night podcast. There's a lot of dudes that are listening to this in the shower. Matt Ruskin, I didn't do this to be mean. I just did this because that's my nature. I am the scorpion, you are the frog. This is how shit goes down. Have you ever watched a rodeo and felt sorry for the bulls?
What's that?
Nothing. So originally taurine was extracted that way, but it is an ingredient in bull semen.
Okay.
So the taurine in Red Bull probably doesn't come from bull semen, but taurine is in bull semen.
Okay.
So Hitler was getting his taurine right from the tap.
From the
You
source.
think he just sucked the bull's dick? The best way is to suck upon it.
Suck the dick!
You get it from the tap when it is fresh. It is 700% more potent. The Fuhrers just gets down there. They hold the bull back with straps and buckles. It's kicking. And Hitler gets his sloppy Nazi mouth right over that fat bull hog. And that is apparently the origin of that upper lip mustache. That upper lip mustache was to catch all the succulent drops when he's choking on jizz.
The flavor savor.
When that giant bull dick is pummeling the back of his throat and fills it up. That when he comes out of his nose, because a lot of the jizz comes out of his nose, that's just enough mustache to catch the jizz. So that's why he had that mustache. A lot of people don't know. Imagine if women had dicks and men had pussies and we were just really into big dicks. Dude, that's just as possible. That's entirely possible. Isn't it entirely possible that all these futurists, all these technological innovators, they all see the same end game? But isn't it entirely possible? I mean, it's entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible the Clintons are murderers. I think it's entirely possible. And people like John Anthony West and yourself and some other folks like Graham Hancock are proposing that it's entirely possible that there were many different eras of construction in Egypt. And it's entirely possible. And I think it's entirely possible that Lee Harvey Oswald, well, you can't be good at everything.
Yeah.
That's a fact. It's not possible. If you had a magic wand and someone said you could do whatever you want to fix this, what would you do? Like if you were the king of the world, said, Ed, what are we going to do? Let's say you become president. You going to become president? What do you think?
I think we got a shot at it.
Got a shot. All right. President Bernie, what do you do? So fascinating. Yeah, I've always thought that was fascinating. It really is fascinating. That's fascinating. There's actually a fascinating documentary. This stuff is so unbelievably fascinating. It's like I look at things that are fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. Roosevelt, fascinating. I'm fascinated by wolves. I'm so fascinated by animals. So fascinated. That is a fascinating book. Alaska is a fascinating place. The mind is a fascinating solution. That's fascinating. It's really fascinating, man.
Prison doesn't begin and end at the gate. Prison is in the mind. It's locked in one world that's dead and dying, or it's open to a world that's free and alive.
Hold on, this guy sounds like me.
Yeah, that didn't sound that crazy.
Dude should have a podcast. Well, do you know the story of Fritz Haber, right? The guy who
Yes.
That's one of the really cool things, this Dan Carlin thing on the history of the Mongols. To the risk of repeating myself over and over again, which I do all the time, but when you eat marijuana. It's processed by your liver, and it produces something called 11-hydroxy metabolite. Smell is a weird thing, man. It's really weird that we all accept that there's some invisible shit that we can take in with a hole in our face. And what I say is the fart theory. And the fart theory is if someone farted and you couldn't smell it, you'd have no idea that there's something around you. It's totally, completely invisible. But if someone farts, you fucking smell it. But if you didn't have a nose, you'd be just sitting in someone's stench. How do we not know that there are an infinite amount of things that we just can't detect? I have a theory on that. It's called the fart principle.
I had no understanding of how that principle could relate to this, but I'm all ears.
Well, this is why. This is a bad example. But it's not a bad one. If you fart and you didn't have a nose, no one would know. If we didn't have a sense of smell, we could still get along in this life.
No, I agree.
If there was a way to visually see if food was
It's not
rotten,
an individual hallucination. They're all seeing it.
But what I'm saying is it's entirely possible that there's multiple dimensions or multiple things that we can't perceive that we don't have the senses for.
No, I kind of
pull this thing like right up like a fist from your face. There we go.
I always do battle ropes.
Just take a look at how.
Pull this microphone up to your face. Keep it about a fist from your face.
All right.
That's basically what
Try to keep this like a fist from your face. Pull this microphone like a fist from your face. There we go. Grab this mic and keep it like a fist from your face. That's a good reference point.
This is good.
Perfect. One. Boom. And we're live. Saddle on up to that microphone, young lady.
Especially the comics where they go and they get that sitcom.
Grab that microphone.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Universal basic income. This is what this is all about.
Yes. Yeah. That's what my campaign for president is all about.
It's Springfield, Missouri.
Talk in the microphone.
It's in Springfield, Missouri.
Yes. I read The God Delusion in preparation for this. Can you pull that microphone right up to your face? Just get it about a fist away from your face. You don't have to move.
Okay.
The microphone will move for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, have I been too far off mic this whole time?
No, you're fine, man.
Okay.
We're good. Psychedelics give me hope. For real.
Yeah.
Not joking. It sounds ridiculous because people associate psychedelics with non-realistic things, with hallucinations. They don't look at it the way I look at it.
I'm weighing with, okay, do I try it or do I not? Or
if you wanted to do something, what I would recommend is going to Peru and doing like an ayahuasca retreat. Do one of those.
After you recommended for me to do ayahuasca, I'm sitting at the table one time, Joe, and people are like, well, why are you down here? I'm like, oh, well, a good friend of mine had suggested to go. And I had mentioned your name, and they're like, but Joe's never done ayahuasca. And this is before my first drink, and I'm thinking, what the hell? I just took advice. I'm all the way in the Amazon.
I'm like, Amber, you should go to Mars.
Yeah. Like, what?
N-dimethyltryptamine, which is the active ingredient in ayahuasca. If you've done that, Alex, have you ever done DMT?
No.
Do you want to? You've done regular DMT too, right?
Yes.
Does the experience mirror taking synthetic 5-MeO DMT? Have you ever had psychedelic experiences? I had a crazy dream last night that was, I had DMT trip in my dream. So if you just fed DMT synthesized to sheep, it wouldn't be toxic. What I'm going to tell you about is your brain produces a chemical while you're sleeping.
But I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna be honest about it.
You actually are the one that turned me onto it, the DMT.
The story of Moses and the burning bush to the acacia bush and the acacia tree, which is rich in DMT.
You know, once I did, I wanted to do it again and again and again. And they said, you shouldn't do it too much, Mike. But I was like, man, I got to, you know.
I don't think you should listen to the people who say you shouldn't do it too much. I think you should do it as much as you want.
That's what I agree with, too.
Yeah.
I agree.
You could handle it.
So my whole life, since I was about, my first memories were every night was a DMT trip. So I basically, I don't want this to sound arrogant, it's not. I've seen everything. Listen, we all know about Jre Epstein, okay? And that
I don't know about Jre Epstein.
That was the Lolita Express. Just Google that. And
what is that?
Bill Clinton was like on 20 flights. First it was 7.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
To this pedophile island that has
about.
a temple in it. And then he was also flying to this Middle Eastern country with this sheik that's an admitted pedophile with multi-million-dollar checks and Bill Clinton on the plane. And Bill Clinton's a known sexual predator. Okay, so all this stuff's going on, and so they start bringing up lawsuits against Donald Trump with Jane Doe's claiming he'd been with Epstein, even though there's no proof in the law, because they make you log even on private jets. None of it was ever true.
So this is this place, Bohemian Grove, and the idea was that all the elites would go there and they would engage in these occult rituals.
This is in America?
Yeah.
There does seem to be, amongst the American ruling elites, there does seem to be a proclivity for ritual.
So Alex films these people worshiping Moloch, the owl god. There's a photo of it there.
There it is.
This is real.
Yeah.
I mean, they really do have a giant owl, and they really do burn some sort of a sacrifice in front of this owl. This is real.
Right.
Like, this isn't like you hear things like that. You're like, well, that's nonsense, right?
It's because, we went in separately because Alex got it into his head that maybe I was part of the Bohemian Grove.
Oh, you're
plot.
like deep inside.
Yeah, like the Wicker Man, that I was like luring him in, and he would be the one sacrificed in the belly of the owl.
Oh, no.
So he went in separately to me. He went in via the undergrowth.
But when you see that video, you have to go, okay, what is this?
It's been in the newspaper that the cell towers are being used for mind control. That sounds like a schizophrenic.
The significance of the research, he explained, is that although the cell phone power is low, electromagnetic radiation can nevertheless have an effect on mental behavior when transmitting at the proper frequency. What is this article, Jamie?
Scientific American. Okay.
Okay.
Remember
5G
how I
is the
told you
new
there was a
internet
BBC
protocol.
article in '96 about human-animal hybrids with pigs and cows?
Yes.
So you got to make you part cow so the cow keeps you, doesn't reject it, or part pig.
MIT Technology Review estimates that about 20 pregnancies of pig-human or sheep-human chimeras have been established during the last 12 months in the U.S.
Total whitewash.
Listen,
2016.
I 100% believe it. China has made pig-monkey hybrids. Alex Jones says they're doing pig humans.
Yeah.
I bet he's right. I guarantee he's right.
I've talked to hundreds of people now, not on air, but I'm going to make a film on this, who've taken ayahuasca and DMT. I've not taken it, and for obvious reasons. And it's unbelievable because, I mean, they 100% in San Francisco is the main project site, literally have an alien base, and they are literally communicating, and they've got like astronaut level people taking super hardcore levels of drugs and going into meetings with these things and making intergalactic deals.
And Rick and Andrew have together developed a technology for releasing DMT into human volunteers in a very slow drip that will keep them in the DMT state, if they wish, for hours on end. And the intention is to use this technology to explore and map the DMT realm.
It's like 34,000 of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of fucking Nazi scientists brought over
On
here.
YouTube, it says Operation Paperclip was anywhere from like 1,200 to 1,500 scientists.
Search engine, the total number of admitted congressional hearings in the 1970s.
Operation Paperclip.
Frank Church Committee in the 70s released it. I believe the number's 34,200 and something. Look it up.
That's why we grabbed those Nazis. We were like, if we don't get them, the Russians will.
I get it. And the Germans, actually, some of their scientists went to the Russians.
Technology, operations, all of that was to beat back the Russians.
Remember when the Russians tried to build their space shuttle and it was half the size? Mm-hmm. That was actually the German plan.
The defectors, or those who come over from the other side, who we learn from, and they just disappear. They disappear as sort of the CIA's version of witness protection.
Just like I told you, they gave people syphilis, you pulled it up.
But it is fascinating that they brought those people over here, and that's where the space program came from.
That's why I wore this shirt, not as a sick joke. They already had the CIA that was OSS. Okay.
The CIA is OSS?
That's all on record.
Okay.
I'm glad you questioned me.
No,
hey,
but I don't know what that means.
CIA.
What is OSS again?
Office of Special Plans.
That was before the CIA. And then the CIA came up.
Office of Strategic
Sort
Plans.
of like...
The Office of Strategic Services.
What is this right here? You bringing it up, Jamie? Jamie, pull up some video of Al Jolson in blackface.
But since you brought up the Al Madrigal
Pull up
thing,
Hermaphrodite. Find out if that's true. I need to know.
I much prefer yours is too.
What the fuck is this, Jamie? The Korean grandmothers who sell sex. How do you pull these up so quick? And what do you have on tab? How strange is it that we put like a monetary value on actual life itself? Wow. It's just such a strange concept.
Yeah.
Did you see that guy accidentally hit that moose with his car?
No.
Holy shit. Jamie, pull that video up. Pull it up. Jamie, pull up. Well, Jamie, pull up that video. Pull it up, Jamie. So he has to do it.
Look that shit up, Jamie.
Pull it up so we can see.
He has to
do it.
He has to do it. He has to do it. He has to do it. He has to do it.
Pull it up. Pull it up. Pull it up. Jamie, pull that video up.